Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm delighted to be here. Before I go into my prepared text, I would just share a few of my own thoughts from my own observations since being appointed Minister 14 months ago. This government has a huge concern, understanding and respect for the role of the 200,000 Irish companies employing up in 650,000 people. It is the engine of growth, and each and every one of you, it's very good to be here among business people, because you are the people who will create the jobs, who will, and equally restoring consumer confidence is so very much apt that it is about confidence and credit, and clearly about getting people back. And the engine of growth is the employers, each and every one of you, who will create those additional jobs in your own company. It is the issue of, I think, the importance of, since my appointment, touring the country, meeting extraordinary business people, and I find that some of the great success stories you won't find on the front page of the spreadsheets, but it is the massive confidence that I find on the ground in every county, in every village, where small companies are working the 30-hour weekend, creating that job, that very important investment. And I think that equally it's great to see great signs of improvement in the economy, and I've certainly found that when you go and visit the companies and the opportunity, and when you look at the foreign direct investment being at a very high level, exports from Ireland are at an unprecedented high level. It is the challenges in the domestic 90 billion domestic economy, and I genuinely believe the 200,000 companies will be the catalyst that will drive Ireland and put it back into the very important driving the engine of growth in the Irish economy. So I'm delighted to be here. I would like to thank the small firms and the chairman, Patricia, for inviting me here this morning, and joined by Claire Dunn from the department here. I think the theme of today's conference, restoring consumer confidence, is vital. It is vital at this critical time, for the importance to the government, because it is the issue of, I suppose, the support of government to small business, and that's the role that I've been appointed by the Taoiseach to deal with, the role of the 200,000 companies. And the government certainly considers that the best means to improve consumer confidence is to restore a sustainability to the public finances. I think that's very important, that repairing the banking system, returning the economy to sustainable growth, and effectively addressing these key issues will result in increased employment, investment and consumer spending, and will be crucial to driving this country forward. I know that Taoiseach is quite determined by 2016 that Ireland will be the best economy in which to establish, grow and develop a business, and I'm quite certain that can happen. Job creation and job retention, and it is about job retention, and it is equally about the retention of jobs, is central to our economic recovery, and the programme for government has job creation at its very core. The role of my department is to ensure that we have the right policies to support enterprise and innovation, and so that quality employment opportunities can be grown and maintained, not only by fostering the right environment for business, but to expand them as well into new jobs coming on stream. It is about more jobs, it is about cutting down the red tape in business, and it is equally, I suppose, more money for people who want to create wealth in the economy and create jobs. And that is very much important. It's not rocket science, it is about just giving 10 reasons for an employer to create a job. Employment creation is a key component to restoring confidence in our economy, and an improved employment environment will, in my view, restore both business and consumer confidence. It is about buying for Ireland. It is about increased sales in the domestic economy. And I genuinely believe when people buy for Ireland, they will, in turn, the employers will create extra jobs. And I see it all over the region, that where people, extraordinarily successful business people, who are very confident about their business and very confident about the future. With increased employment, people will become more confident in terms of spending more of the disposable income on goods and services. And it is, when you take the 90 billion domestic economy and the huge level of savings in the economy, it is important that we give, and in this conference today, it is about getting that very confident word out that Ireland is open for business and that we can create jobs in the Irish economy. That is why this government, its focus has been, since coming into office last year, concentrating on job retention, job creation initiatives as to restore confidence in our economy. In May 2011, the government launched a 500 million jobs initiative, which had the objective of restoring confidence in the economy, both internationally and domestically. And I think all of that is very much on track at the moment. Some very good foreign direct investments. Exports by the indigenous Irish companies are at an unprecedented high level. And the real issue is the domestic economy, supporting the maintenance of existing jobs and facilitating the creation of new jobs, improving the business environment and assisting people to get back to work. It is really the most important job for all of us. Small business are a central part of the economy and play a vital role in society and local communities as well. It is about social enterprise. I believe very much myself in the whole role of social enterprise and the recognition of community economic regeneration. And I know that all of you as business people in your own region are very supportive of social enterprise and the local economic regeneration of regions through community-based companies as well. The government are aware that it is absolutely critical to put SMEs right at the centre of our thinking in driving the whole economy, and the economic recovery is very much the issue that we have got to be working on very effectively. I think that a small business ability to succeed and grow underpins our future potential for jobs, growth and prosperity. Government is focused on ensuring that Irish companies are supported in every way to develop their businesses, increase exports, create jobs and rebuild the economy. They will say no problem. They say business, there's always problems in business, but it is no problem, no business. There's always a certain amount of difficulties in every business, and Ian has addressed some of the concerns, and clearly that there will always be challenges in business, but equally the opportunities can outweigh a lot of the challenges. I think the advisory group for small business, which the small firms play a critical role, Ian is as chair and Patricia Callan are on this very important body. And one of my first initiatives when I took the job as Minister for Small Business was to look at the need to have a continuing dialogue in place whereby the concerns of small companies could be brought to the attention of government. And the advisory group for small business has brought the collective insight of the stakeholders in the small business sector to government, and in doing so has identified a number of priority actions to be implemented by government. And it's very important that we listen actively to the needs of business people. A number of these key recommendations have fed into the action plan for jobs, particularly in relation to assisting the small business sector to cope with the current economic crisis and to prepare business for future growth and job creation. There are huge difficulties out there, and the government are acutely aware of the concerns of business people at the moment. Stacked up costs of government and business, the whole issue of dealing with cutting down the costs of business for the operation of business by government on business, and that is a focus that we're very much looking at as well. The Action Plan for Jobs 2012, published in February 2012, clearly shows that the commitment this government has to small business. And the Action Plan shows our commitment to implement change, reform in a step-by-step approach, to re-energise the economy, to meet the challenges of recovery, to address a failed economic model, and to restore confidence and to enhance Ireland's position in the world. My department is driving this plan through every government department and over 35 agencies. It can and must succeed. It is an engine for change, and it is something we intend to revitalise annually. And we are working on the 2013 plan currently. An essential element of this process in helping Ireland to become the best small country in which to do business by 2016. And that is by cutting down the regulatory burden, making it easier for people to open, establish, and the whole licensing of businesses. It is about making the obligations, cutting down on the red tape. The first progress report on the action plan was published by the government on the 20th of April. And the report shows that 80 of the 83 measures due for delivery across the whole of government in the first quarter have been implemented. And some of the key measures which have been delivered include the launch of the Succeed in Ireland initiative aimed at delivering at least 5,000 jobs in 5 years, the launch of a new potential exporter division in Enterprise Ireland, targeting 1,800 new exporting companies. And this is a very good initiative where we are now looking at the new exporters. When you look at the potential for Ireland and the whole European market and the new BRIC countries, we are now identifying 1,800 new companies who haven't exported before, and we're hoping that we can work with them through Enterprise Ireland to grow their business in new markets. The publication of legislation for the Partial Credit Guarantee Scheme, which I think will be very welcome, and that will be, it's gone through the Dáil currently and will be launched hopefully by July, and I think it will certainly won't prevent bank lending, but will certainly complement it. the design of the launch of the new $150 million development capital scheme aimed at addressing a funding gap for mid-sized, high-growth companies, the issue of global second call under the Innovation Fund Ireland worth more than 60 million to target investment in high-growth technology companies. And it's extraordinary when the commercialisation of knowledge is so important to the Irish economy. And when you visit the ITs that I have myself the great pleasure of visiting, the business incubation within ITs and the facilitation by this type of fund, it's extraordinary when you see the brilliance academia working and the commercialisation of knowledge. It is fantastic to see the opportunities that are there. The allocation of 20 million to a new education and training fund, the extension and the simplification of the employer's PRSI exemption scheme, and the enactment of the finance bill, giving effect to several pro-jobs measures. The Action Plan for Jobs has set a target of supporting the creation of 100,000 new jobs from the period of 2012 to 2016, with a longer-term objective of having 2 million people at work by 2020. If 50,000 of the 200,000 small companies employed one person, and that's why we feel that the critical role and the engine of growth is you, the people who are here this morning, business people, who can create that one additional job. I'm convinced myself, with my experience of seeing small companies and the tremendous determination of Irish business people to succeed, taking this initiative by the domestic employers in the Irish economy, it's amazing what can be done, and the objective of 100,000 jobs by 2016, I genuinely believe can be delivered. The progress achieved in the first quarter of 2012 is just the first stage in delivering on the 270 measures in this year's action plan. The impact of the process in terms of jobs created will be certainly measurable over a longer period. With regard to returning the economy to sustainable growth, we have a significant improvements in our competitiveness. It is about being value for money, it is about being fit for purpose, and it is very important to the consumer, and it is about consumers, and it is about offering that very much critical value. In terms of labour market, we've targeted our limited firepower in the more labour-intensive sectors with measures contained in the Jobs Initiative and the recent action plan on jobs. However, I'm also very much encouraged by a number of recent significant job announcements which show an increased level of confidence from investors in the Irish economy and in the government policies. While the increase was relatively small, at least we are moving in the right direction. And I believe it is. There is signs of growth. I see it myself very clearly on the ground. The access to credit, and one of the critical issues facing the Irish small business sector is the unavailability of adequate credit facilities. We all know that access to finance is a key issue for small business and is critical to the long-term economic success. The various initiatives taken by my colleague, Minister Noonan, the Minister for Finance, to restructure, recapitalise the banking system are the government's principal responses to making the banks once again fit for purpose and able to make credit available to viable companies. We have $7 billion ring-fenced for the SME sector in the two pillar banks. We have the Credit Review Office, and that is a huge amount of money. And it's important that people with viable business plans, and I believe the banks are very much engaging with a very much a simplified banking application. There is the Credit Review Office where people have been refused, and I would strongly recommend people who have difficulty in getting access to credit that they would avail of this office. As already mentioned, the Action Plan for Jobs identifies the temporary personal loan guarantee scheme and the microfinance fund as two further actions to address this issue. These two schemes will be up and running, I would say, in the third quarter of this year. Obviously, that took a huge amount of time going through the legislative preparation, but thankfully they're ready to roll. And both of these schemes are designed to assist companies who have been refused credit by banks because they are deemed to be of a higher risk. We are urgently progressing the necessary legislation to underpin the loan guarantee scheme, which is designed to assist viable small micro companies and medium enterprises on the emergence of commercial lending decisions to gain access to credit. And I genuinely believe there will be a huge addition. Capita Asset Services based in Maynooth have been contracted by my department to act as the operator for the practical oversight, management and the operation of this scheme. The Microfinance Loan Fund is designed to stimulate lending to sustainable micro-enterprises, and it is targeted at a start-up, newly established or growing micro-enterprises across all industry sectors, employing not more than 10 people. Last week I had the opportunity of my role as SME envoy. I've been in Malta with regard, and they're dealing with the whole issue, and they have a very effective scheme there. I met the representative body of 7,000 small companies, and they're very much working very closely with government, and this scheme was very successful and has been very successful in Europe, in clearly where people may not even go to the bank, of encouraging people who have an idea to commercialise it. And I genuinely believe that this properly launched and promoted can be very effective. It will provide loans up to 25,000 for commercially viable proposals that do not meet the conventional risk criteria by commercial banks. I think the whole issue of meeting the challenges of the modern consumer and the rebuilding of Ireland's cost competitiveness is a key element to the restoration of our economic stability. And I believe that if shelter elements of the domestic economy are not exposed to greater competition, services inflation will continue to outpace the Eurozone average, and the cost competitiveness of Irish firms will worsen. Competition policy can play a vital role in improving the competitiveness of an economy, but particularly so in small, open economies such as Ireland. Ensuring competition within Ireland's economy is therefore vital to improving our overall competitiveness and ultimately increase consumer demand and get people buying, supporting and growing this very important economy. To this end, the Competition Authority has made a number of recommendations aimed at increased competition in locally traded services where competition may be absent, limited or restricted. And our job is to open up competition. It is about value for money. Much progress has been made in implementing these recommendations. Aside from government macro initiatives to support small business, SMEs themselves have a responsibility to ensure that they are fully equipped to meet the needs of modern consumers who undoubtedly have become much more discerning and strategic in relation to the goods and services they buy. In this regard, the National Consumer Agency has tracked the consumer empowerment metrics since 2007, and the latest data published in March 2012 shows the levels of stated empowerment are at an all-time high levels. 77% state they are confident of their rights, 72% assert that they are knowledgeable of their rights, and 76% feel protected in respect of their rights. The most recent research in relation to consumer willingness to complain conducted of May-June 2011 revealed that 85% of consumers were willing to complain when they've cause or reason to do so. And the number who, with cause or reason to complain or return an item and actually doing so was at a record level of 92%. Encouragingly, over 3 and 4, 78% of those who complained found the complaint process easy, and 84% of those complained had the problems completely resolved. The message from research is clear. Consumers are more willing than ever to assert their rights and take action if they have a problem. The challenge for retailers and service providers, therefore, is to ensure that we have appropriate systems in place to deal with the inevitability issues that occur in a business and respond to them in a very open manner. Just in conclusion, small business are currently operating in a particularly difficult environment. So it is important that this government have the understanding, concern, respect and will give service to this vital part of the economy, and that we continue to focus on delivering on practical programmes of actions that can achieve positive improvements in the operating environment for small companies. Our future economic prospects depend on sustaining our strong entrepreneurial spirit, even in the face of unprecedented economic challenges. Now more than ever, we need ambitious, energetic entrepreneurs who can play a real part in driving a positive uplift in our economy, leading to improved consumer confidence. And I strongly believe that every small business is a potential employer, and if they are willing and confident enough to take a risk, they will play their part in getting Ireland back on track, contributing to a tangible way to the well-being of local communities. And it is about local communities, social enterprise, it is about the small town, the small village, and it is about the business in every region. At the end of the day, it's not the government working alone that is going to lead our economy to recovery. It is you, business people, entrepreneurs, innovators, researchers, People who are willing to innovate, take chances, who take the dream, who work the 30-hour weekend, who have a solid determination to succeed. You're the people who create the wealth in the economy. If people in small companies are supported, they will create jobs. I know that myself, at no cost to the state. That is why the Taoiseach's commitment of having the best economy, we fully recognise, of getting 50,000 companies one job. It's amazing more jobs, more spend, consumers buy more. And to bring this economy and the cost to the state is very at a low cost, and to restore confidence in our people and our economy. So I certainly am delighted to be here today. I hope I must say I've enjoyed working with the small firms since my appointment. I think they play a huge role in the policy, the formation of policy in government, and we listen very actively to the current concern raised by you as members. And not saying we will deliver everything, but we are very much doing our utmost to ensure the people that matter most, the employers of this country, are supported to create jobs. I'm delighted to be here. Thank you for the invitation. Thank you.